Hi everybody, happy Friday. I'm Laura Wiltshire and I became an RDaShian in June this year when I joined Doncaster Mental Health and Learning Disability Care Group as the Care Group Director. I'm a registered social worker and I've been for about 17 years now, and then I moved into purely operational roles about 5 years ago. I really value being both a clinician and an operational leader, and I'm really enjoying the balance of both in RDaSH as I oversee the functions and the performance of the care group. From qualifying, I've always worked in mental health, and it's mostly been in forensic mental health. And I was an approved mental health professional for 5 years, a role that you might have come across or heard about. And it basically means that you lead the process of a mental health assessment and primarily look at how care can be delivered in the least restrictive environment whilst keeping the person and others safe. Law's quite a particular interest of mine. So I'm now 4 months into role and working in Doncaster. And I've been reflecting over that period about what led me to apply to work at RDaSH after working in Sheffield for the last 10 years, which is also where I live and where I had many trusted colleagues and friends at the time. So I saw the Care Group Director post come up, probably about this time last year, to be honest, and I booked a conversation in with Richard Chillery, who's my now boss, who's the Chief Operating Officer, or COO as we often call it. And that conversation was really important to me, and I've thought about it a lot recently. It really motivated me to apply and try my hardest to get that position for a couple of reasons that were significant to me. So when we met, Richard spoke about being a social worker and what that meant and brought to this role. In the NHS and operational roles in particular, you rarely get social workers at this kind of level, as nursing is often the background of senior leaders because it's the predominant workforce in the NHS. And so it really resonated with me that Richard spoke really passionately about being a social worker and the COO and what it brought to his ability to do his job. What I also took away from that conversation, and what I'd already started to notice and reflect on when I saw recent appointments and changes within the RDaSH executive and senior leadership, was the diversity that's clearly welcomed and supported by Toby and by Kath as the chief exec and the chair. As a queer woman, it's hugely important for me to feel seen and to see myself and people from my community in senior positions. And this is what brought me to want to work at RDaSH. And it continues to be a big part of why I enjoy coming to work every day. This led me to apply recently to become the co-chair of what was the LGBTQ staff network. Having a safe space and knowing your community is around you and alongside allies is so important, and I was really excited to be appointed co-chair alongside the amazing ally that's Vicky Mitchell, who works in Aspire, and with Richard Chillery as a proud gay man as our executive sponsor. We're relaunching and revamping the network with a new name of the RDaSH Rainbow Network. We have a spooky social event which is planned for the 29th of October to celebrate Halloween and have some space to come and meet colleagues, meet allies, and know that RDaSH is a place where all aspects of diversity is valued, welcomed and celebrated. So if you are able to come along on 29th, it's at room 1 in Almond Tree Court, 1:30 till 3 o'clock in the afternoon. We're having a quiz, and it's a chance for you to tell us what you want from your network and what you want from us as chairs. We'll be working out future dates in the half-learning events, with some in between, as this can be a great way of supporting all our staff to be able to attend a network. And we'll also be hosting them around the Trust, and we've recently joined forces as such with the network chairs at DBTH, and we're looking at Doncaster Local Authority as well. So we'll hopefully be hosting a Christmas social at a local board game cafe, so keep your eyes out for that one. Thinking about learning half days and inclusivity and bringing your whole self to work, I wanted to flag a session that I watched recently. I really recommend it for the next half learning event in November. It's a series run by Monique Carriol, and she hosts it, called Bravery in the Boardroom. And the session that I want to recommend in particular is with our chief nurse, Steve Forsyth, who talks about his journey into the profession of nursing, his inspirations, and his experience of coming into this role in RDaSH. An important thing for me that really resonated was when Steve spoke about code switching, which is something I feel really passionate about. Code switching is a strategy that people use to alter their self-presentation, often adjusting themselves to what they believe are social expectations and norms. So an example for me that often gay or trans people alter how they dress or how they talk about the personal circumstances, and that can be to avoid what could be uncomfortable situations, or in some places avoid risk of attack. It's still illegal to be gay in many countries, for example. So when Steve talked about his experiences of code switching and now I felt totally at ease not to feel that he had to code switch at RDaSH. It really hit me, and I couldn't agree more and find this a really inclusive and supportive place to work. I hope that however you identify, you feel the same in our trust. For whatever reason, if you don't, please consider speaking to your line manager about it. If not, we've got James Hatfield as our Freedom Speak Up guardian, and you can always reach out to Vicky or myself as co-chairs of the network, and we'll support you to address this. If you want to watch the Bravery in the Boardroom session, it's on Monique's YouTube, and I'll share the link at the end of this vlog. Please invest in this, as it's really worth a watch, as are the rest of the series. Right, I think that's enough from me today, and I wish you the very best weekend. A last plea though, for anybody who hasn't had the flu jab yet. Please do book and have it, not just for yourself, but mostly for our community and people who might be physically more vulnerable than you. We've got a great crew of vaccinators in our care group, as have the other care groups, where we've got Judith Bagley in our learning disability services, and all of them are leading from the front by our Director of Nursing, Jo Dakin, along with the other dons in the Trust, who are leading our ambition of 3,000 vaccinations. So there's the information available on the internet, but if you are struggling to access one, just get in touch with her or me, and we'll come and find you and get you that vaccination. Thank you.